Hello, YouTube. Broggy the Scald here. I want to talk a little bit about history. I've been going to summer school at a state college of mine, and I was taking American history. And before I dive into what I was going to say, we were talking about the civil rights movement in 1964. Now, a lot of feminists claim that we are under a patriarchy, and some would even say that it's all down to white male privilege. Now, a little history lesson. 1964, the Civil Rights Act, right? This was passed during the civil rights movement in the 1960s. It was passed to basically desegregate the South, right? Anti-segregation. But there was a little addendum that they put in there. Now, okay, originally I will admit that the addendum was to kill the bill, but it didn't. Okay, and that addendum was it outlawed segregation based on race or gender. Okay, now this comes into play in 1972 with Title IX. With this law in place, it disallowed the segregation based on race or gender. Title IX basically said women can now be free from being barred from colleges. Now, do you want to know who was the president at the time? LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson. So, don't tell me that this is based off of white male privilege. If we were under a patriarchy, these laws would not, I repeat, would not have been passed. I am sorry. Now, here's the thing. 2 years after this bill was, the Civil Rights Act was passed, I'm not talking Title IX, I'm talking about Civil Rights Act, Barbara Jordan was elected to Texas state legislature. That's kind of significant if you think about it. She was also the first African American woman to be elected to Texas state legislature. There is no way you can say that this is due to patriarchy or white male privilege. Barbara Jordan eventually became prominent on the national scale. She was elected to U.S. Congress, for crying out loud. So, I mean, nowadays you've got people saying, patriarchy, white male privilege. Speaking as a white male, I call bullshit. Bullshit. That's simply not true. I mean, don't get me wrong, I actually think that the women's rights movement back in the 1970s was highly necessary. It did what it needed to do. But now we're faced with a bunch of people who claim that nothing was accomplished. They want more. And it's like, okay, yeah, you want more. But the more you take for yourself, the less you leave for everyone else. For true equality to exist, you have to leave enough on the plate for everybody. We gave women the right to vote, the right to own property, the right to run for political office. I mean, and now you're griping about the fact that it's still not enough. Nothing has changed, and now most of your stances are based off of stuff that's really not under the government's control. Now that women have the right to an education and all that other fun stuff, they're not going into the fields that you as feminists want. That's why there's an imbalance in men and women in politics. That's why there's an imbalance in the pay scale. Basically, and I agree with most people on YouTube, what you basically did was took all the salaries of men and all the salaries of women, not taking into account what fields they were in, and just averaged them up and then claim there's a pay gap. That's a gross misrepresentation of what's actually happening. I have not ever seen a single pay scale in any of my jobs, including the military, for crying out loud, that says this is what men get paid, this is what women get paid. It simply doesn't exist in the broad scheme of things. Yes, I am sure there are small contingencies out there that do discriminate based on gender. But in the grand scheme of things, it's simply not true. Now, I would like to be proven wrong, as I say almost every time I post a video here on YouTube. I want conversation on my channel, okay? And but if you're going to give me proof, show me actual statistics that are valid, not this gross misrepresentation. And by that I mean to say the basic average of everyone's salaries average on one side and everybody else's salaries average on the other side, men and women. It just that's not the stats, okay? And okay, that's basically how I feel on the matter. So you've got history, and if I'm wrong about the history, please let me know. Look it up. Don't cite sites like Wikipedia, though, because Wikipedia is unreliable at best when it comes to historical events. Okay? Although I use it quite often. Sorry, history major. But all right, that's pretty much it. Have a nice day, YouTube. Bruggy the Skull, signing off.